Hi guys, welcome back to Lunatic Astrology, and I'm your astrologer Lori Lothian, and I'm so excited to talk to you today about the variant named Omicron and astrology. Why? Because the sky shows, and I've been saying this for a long time, even before the eclipse, the lunar eclipse on the star Algol, that this pandemic was going to end. And I'm going to give you the reasons why, but I'm going to show it to you. I want to show you how the moon moving around the sky from the date of the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse that happened on November the 19th, gives us a story that tells us that the pandemic is likely ending because Omicron is very transmissible and very not pathogenic, very mild. So we will have a global head cold that will impact us in a positive way, because whether people are vaccinated or not, everyone will get exposed to it. And it looks promising that people will not be dying en masse. So this will take over Delta and we'll be off to the races. So you want to learn why I'm saying this? I know YouTube doesn't like this content. You'll probably get a warning, but I'm going to go for it anyway. I'm going to show you the sky. You won't believe this. This is going to be a short video. Hang in there for it with me. In the meantime, like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff helps my channel grow. Check my description box. I have an eclipse reading sale on now for $111. It covers almost 2 years of your life and how those eclipses work. And that sale is only on till the end of December. Okay, let's get going. So first of all, one big premise before I show you the lunar story and how you can track literally, guys, I'm not kidding you, the day that the coronavirus was named a variant of concern, the Omicron version, that was exactly the day that the moon had moved into its first quarter square from the 27-degree Taurus eclipse point. The second time the moon moved into a relationship to the eclipse point was on December the 3rd from Scorpio, opposite the 27-degree eclipse point from the lunar eclipse of the 19th of November. And what happened? That was the day that New York Times broke the story that this was, according to the African epidemiologists and doctors on the ground, a mild virus, and very few people were getting seriously ill. Even the vaccinated were getting it, but they were not seriously ill. They had more serious, intense symptoms than the vaccinated, but they were doing fine. And that story broke across the entire news stream exactly on December 3rd, when the moon had traveled around, right, to connect to the opposition to the point of the square. And just so you know, the next big date for the news cycle on this is December 9th. I'm recording this and putting it on YouTube on December 8th. I think we're going to find something breaking tomorrow, but these dates are kind of like, you could say December 8th, 9th, and 10th. And those are the juicy dates around the next Omicron story and what the news cycle will tell us about it. And last but not least, there will be a final denouement when the moon comes back to 27 Taurus and conjuncts the original eclipse site on December 16th. And that is going to be a day of great stuff in the news cycle, maybe give or take a day on either side. So you've got the dates, right? So we're waiting for December 9th and the December 16th breaking news on Omicron, given that the December 3rd breaking news was positive and that it's very mild and all of that. I'm really optimistic. And there is a conjunction of of Jupiter to the moon on December 9th, tomorrow, on the day of this next revelation. And Jupiter, of course, is a benefic, and positive news should be coming forth. I also noted another one of my videos that when Mercury went into the heart of the sun on November the 29th, it's called cazmi. What happened was he was cazmi, or in the heart of the sun, November 29th or so, conjunct, right, an asteroid called Panacea, which is the remedy for everything, or the cure for everything. And I said in that video on my channel, go check it out. I think it's a Mercury cazmi video, all signs delineation perhaps, that I was feeling optimistic that this was going to be good news about the virus. Don't forget, it was November 19th that the lunar eclipse was setting off a change of guard about this. That lunar eclipse at 27 Scorpio was the first of an eclipse cycle that's going to take all the way till May of 2023 to complete on the new Taurus Scorpio axis, which is going to bring a whole new stories to the collective. We are finishing up with the December 4th eclipse at 12 Sagittarius, what has been going on since summer of 2020, which is of course partly the pandemic, but that story as well involving Gemini lungs is coming to a close. And I did predict in my eclipse video, and I called it solar eclipse video, it was called War Drums and Spiders. That wasn't a very popular video on my channel. No one likes to hear there's going to be a war, that US is going to get pulled into a skirmish. I think in the video I said maybe it's Taiwan and China. Now we're hearing the news that Putin and Biden are duking it out over the Ukraine buildup of forces of Russia on the border. So these eclipses tell us stories, just like I'm talking about the virus. We can track the actual return of that point of that eclipse by the movement of the moon, and that could be another video from the December 4th solar eclipse, which is the war drums, the war drums eclipse. All right, I may not show you the picture. I'm just going to say one last thing. The other big overarching giant umbrella of why I think the pandemic is ending is that when Mars becomes invisible and then visible again, big changes happen in the world. In the Babylonian sky tradition, he's the emissary of Nergal, and Nergal is a god of war and a god of plagues and pandemics, okay? Illnesses, bad things happen. And Mars died in the heart of the sun in September of 2019 in Virgo, a sign that has to do with health. And he rose in Libra about a month later into visibility in the sky when he got around 15 degrees away from the sun again. And that is a position of weakness where Mars in Libra is weak. And of course, that's led to a whole bunch of stuff since October of 2019 to do with the lack of balance, right? The polarity, the vitriol, the vaxxers, the anti-vaxxers, the Republicans versus the conservatives, like reality splitting apart. And of course, justice being all a tilt and askew as well, including all the hubbub about the US Supreme Court being stacked with, conservatives, and should the Democrats try to pass a law to populate it with non-conservatives, etc. So now Mars died in the heart of the sun around October 8th, and he became visible again in certain places in the world when he got around the third week of November, and is becoming increasingly available to our eyeballs in the morning sky throughout December, first week or two of December. Now, interestingly, this is also telling us a new story. Mars started a plague story, that naughty guy, back in 2019. And by the way, we didn't get the news that there was a virus, of course, until early January or so of 2020. But now hindsight is 2020. It looks like in Wuhan, China, they were having cases of COVID, but didn't know what it was. Okay, but it was starting up in the fall, October of 2020. This time with Mars's death in Libra, he died in Libra, October 7th, in the heart of the sun to be reborn again as a fresh new Mars. He rose in his home sign of Scorpio. He'll rise in Scorpio. War drums, because Scorpio, Mars is a warrior. Scorpio is his home sign, and he does the Martian things. What else could happen that Mars is rising in Scorpio? He can not only bring wars to bear and even trade wars, but he can bring secrets into the open. So we're finding all the Ghislaine Maxwell trial secrets spilling out. There was just an interesting other spillage of this journalist from the New York Times who was chopped to bits and murdered, and there's new disclosures coming out about that. You can expect a lot more under the cover news, like stuff coming out over the next 2 years that may be shocking, right? Mars will reveal secrets from Scorpio. So we have a lot of like underbelly stuff being revealed over the next 2 years, but we also have, Mars is done with the plague, did that last time. He's got 2 more years to drum up the war drums, okay? Probably wondering why I talked about spiders. Go watch my video on the solar eclipse in my playlist. I'll put the link below at December 4th solar eclipse, because it was conjunct Arachne, which means spider, okay? But it has to do with the myth of hubris and pride and trying to beat the gods. Okay, so there you go. I don't think I'm going to show you the sky chart. I don't think I need to. I'll reiterate what I just said. 1, okay, on November the 19th, there was a lunar eclipse involving the fixed star Algol, off with their heads. And the lunar eclipse was the first of a new eclipse cycle on the Taurus Scorpio axis. Mars is involved on the opposite side, where the sun was sitting in Scorpio, the moon was in Taurus. Why we care about that is that Mars is a plague god. So that eclipse is bringing in Mr. Plague God's energy field, because he owns the south node side of the eclipse cycle, where the sun set on November the 19th. Then we fast forward to December the 3rd, when the moon from the eclipse point, okay, is now traveling, because it was a full moon, right? Is now traveling through the sky and meets on December 3rd, the 27 degrees of Scorpio. I mean, no, sorry, not December 3rd, November 26th, traveling through the sky, and hits the first of the of the energetic squares to the original eclipse. That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe you'd like to see this. If you've already got the message you need, great. Off you go, and I'll show you guys a sky story, because I know that a lot of you are astrologers as well that watch my channel. So let's start off. I want to grab the eclipse. Well, I don't need to grab the eclipse, trust me. On the day of the eclipse, all right, the sun was sitting at 27 Scorpio on the 19th of November, and the moon was sitting at 27 Taurus on the fixed star Algol, off with their heads, Medusa myth, Perseus slaying the head of the Gorgon who turned people to stone. This could be interpreted positively as slaying the COVID virus by the rescuing hero, the Perseus character in mythology. In fact, I do believe that Algol is the eye of the Medusa in the star system, within the head of the Medusa in that constellation. So we have the moon at 27 degrees of Leo, having jaunted over from Taurus and made it over to 27 Leo on November 26th. This was the day the news broke that the WHO had said this is a variant of concern, and all of a sudden, all over the news was, oh no, Omicron. That was the beginning of the story where we got to know about it. Of course, on November 19th, Omicron was circulating in Botswana, in South Africa, even in the Netherlands. It was already there. We just found out about it when the moon got to its first quarter square to, or a half moon in the sky. Okay, it's a waxing half moon on the November 26th point. Then the moon is going to truck along, and I'm not going to actually move the chart. Well, maybe I'll move the chart. Let me do it. Okay, I'm just really awkward at my moving of my charts. If you watch my channel, you know that I have issues doing this. But anyway. So we want to get that moon over to 27 degrees of Scorpio. So now I'm going to have to back it up because I just went for a guesstimate there. There's the moon at 20 Scorpio. And let's move it up by hours. The moon moves through a sign every 2.5 days. It's very fast. And there she's coming to 27 degrees of Scorpio on December 3rd. So this is the opposition point to 27 Leo, where the eclipse was happening. The moon is now sitting in the place the sun was sitting on November 19th, eclipse day. So we end up seeing what happens in the news cycle. Just to reiterate, on December 3rd is the first New York Times breaking the story that this is a mild virus, interviewing all these epidemiologists and doctors from South Africa. And then on the top of that, ABC, NBC, everybody just kept talking about the virus being, hey, maybe more transmissible and less severe. That was the big news and breaking out that day. All right, and then we're going to move forward again, because on December 9th, that moon will end up being at 27 degrees of Aquarius, and Aquarius makes it a last quarter waning square half moon. Okay, just so you know what that is. Let's go by days so I don't go past it this time. That's close enough. It is on December 9th that the moon will hit 9th and 10th. The moon will hit the 27th degree of Aquarius. Let's go for the hours to be precise. You can see Jupiter is sitting there, which is lovely. So it's probably the 9th, 10th actually, because that bonifies or makes this very positive developments. I think it's still going to be on. So here in Vancouver, Canada, it's like 2:30 a.m. on December 9th. The moon is coming back into that place. Expect around the 9th or 10th. That's tomorrow. I'm recording on the 8th. Some really big news. It's going to look like a continuation of what this Omicron is about. I expect this to be very positive, given that Jupiter is conjunct the moon on that point. And then the last, of course, is going to be when the moon is going to sweep around all the way to December the 16th, which, by the way, is almost like 3 days later. Venus goes retrograde and Chiron goes direct. Chiron, the healer of the wounds, will be going direct 3 days after this last point. So we want to get the moon back to 27 degrees where everything started out on the eclipse. There's the moon at 24 Taurus. And we want to go hours, and you'll see it. I'm going to finish this video. I hope that teaches you something about eclipses. You can do this for every eclipse, and you'll find that a lot of the story of what the next 6 months are about politically, or in this case, I'm just focusing on one element, viral stuff, will inform the kind of narrative of the next 6 months, which this is going to I'm calling this a relief story. There we go. So December 16th, there's that moon at 27 Taurus. And yes, back on the star algol. And hopefully this is good. Hopefully we are finding this is a good and positive influence. I can't, I'm just guessing it's going to be some more good news. If we're tracking the COVID and Omicron story, it's completing here. Whatever narrative was really introduced is coming to a completion. And it feels to me like it could be a positive completion. At the time of this event, there is a beautiful trine from Venus in Capricorn, who is a benefic. And of course, that means this moon has a lot of positivity. We didn't have Venus in a trine to the 27 Taurus mark back in November 19th. So there's a little love from Venus trining that moon. Looks good to me, guys. And then of course, Chiron will go direct 3 days later. Venus will go retrograde 3 days later. So for the short term, near term, the news about this should be on the cycle of improving our perception around the virus. Now it's possible there are other narratives that this eclipse is telling us as well, but I'm not tracking those. I'm just tracking one, which is the news cycle of the COVID pandemic and Omicron. I hope that's useful. My prediction is, and I'm very hopeful, and I can be wrong, is that this will be a global head cold. It will take over the Delta because it will become dominant. And actually, unfortunately, for the vaccine manufacturers, their vaccines won't be all that in demand. Anyway, just a thought. Here in the stock market, you want to short the Pfizer and Moderna people. Okay, guys, I'm out of here. Ciao, ciao. I'm going to put this up today on November the 8th. And I'm going to stop my share. Okay, have a great day.